I hope you are ready. Miss Boyd is ready, and we've got polar bears today. You've got polar bears in your Google Classroom, so if you can go ahead, pull up the polar bear predicament. We are going to continue on with citing textual evidence to support our analysis of what a text or document says explicitly, as well as inferences we have drawn from our text or document. So you can pull this up. I'd like you to start entering in the chat box some observations about this. Don't say if it's an inference or if it's something explicitly stated in the title or shown. Just go ahead and put in some of your observations, and I'm going to be writing them down. Okay. The polar bears are sad, right? As I read out your statements that you're putting in the chat, really good job, by the way. I see them all coming in. As I read them out, would you go ahead and hold up one finger if it is an explicit statement, and two if the person has drawn an inference? All right, so the polar bears are sad. One finger if it's explicit, and two if it's an inference. All right. And incidentally, before we go any further, what is a predicament? Cohen is saying it's a situation or a struggle. Okay, great. All right, let's continue. The polar bears are sitting on melting ice. All right, explicit or inferred. And jumping out for a minute, I am doing a pre-assessment right now just to let me know where students are. We've done a little bit of this prior to right now, and I'm just really seeing what they remember and where students are with it. So I've listed their names, and I'm putting a little dot next to their name if they get one wrong. So I'll just be able to judge afterwards who needs a little bit more focus during the close read, which is coming up. Okay, so the bears might be in Antarctica. Okay, and go ahead and give me a 1 or a 2 on that one. And jumping out, so we'll put that aside, and I've got a little bit of data from that, and then we'll go ahead and continue on with the lesson. So you also have the text in your Google Classroom, so we're going to move on to that, and let's jump in with some popcorn reading and go through this and find out what is the situation with these polar bears, what's the predicament. And let's go ahead and Matthew, would you start us off? All right, good. To polar bears, this habitat is their home. Explicit or inference, Blaze? What do you say about what Matthew just read? Okay, explicit. Right, because it says it right there in the text. It's staring right at us. That's explicitly stated. So to polar bears, this habitat is their home. I'm going to add, this is where they would raise their young then. And this is where they're raising their families. Would that be, Adeline, would you say that is an inference or explicitly stated? And great. I just inferred that. Right, it's not in the text, is it? That is an inference that I drew from saying, if this is where they all live and this is their habitat, I'm going to guess that this is also where they raise their young. So I drew an inference. All right, jumping back out for a minute. So I will use this close read to work on the standard, go over it, and also to focus on some of the students who during the pre-assessment may have shown me that they need a little bit of extra attention, and we'll move through that together. Okay, jumping back out. Everyone, you can put that aside, and we are going to move into Pear Deck. Who would like to watch a YouTube video for a little while? Okay. All right, thumbs up if you want to watch a YouTube video. I thought so. Okay, also, thumbs up if you understand so far what we've done with explicit and drawing inferences. Explicitly stated information and drawing inferences. Thumbs up, or this is, I think I'm with you, I still have some questions, and this is, what even is an inference? I missed that. Can you repeat it? Okay. Well, I don't see any thumbs down. So that's, I guess we're making some progress here. Awesome job. Okay, fantastic. So, switching into Pear Deck, I'm going to share my screen with you so we can watch this video. And while it's going on, every now and then I may stop it. So keep your thinking caps on. I may stop here and there and ask you to write one sentence of something that is explicitly stated in this video. Okay? So jumping back out for a minute, I will also use these sentences that the students will be writing as another form of data collection within the lesson, and I'll be able to see who's tracking along with me. Again, it helps them to pay attention, and it also gives me real-time data on whose sentences are correct and where we need a little more focus. I also like to use multimedia because some students are auditory learners and some are more visual. So just having the text, I don't think gives an accurate read on who really understands the lesson. I think students can just as easily draw inferences from a video, and they can do these exercises, just with a different platform, and it gives me a different read. It gives them a different perspective on the same material. So, okay, continuing, jumping back in. All right, great job with that, and thank you for entering your sentences in Pear Deck. And I do want to take a minute to let you draw a couple of inferences and also please give me one sentence on that, and I'll give you a few minutes to do that. All right, and time is up. So for the last part of this lesson, what we're going to do is divide into two assignments, and one group is going to draw up a proposal and assess the greatest needs of these polar bears and their predicament. And the other group is going to write a thank you note to the gentleman in the YouTube video. He was from the Wildlife Federation. His name was Dr. Inkley. And we're going to sum up what he said and maybe draw an inference of our own within that and put it in the form of a thank you note. So we will get going on that, and I'm going to share this Google Doc with you where I've spelled out the assignment a little better. And if you will also jump over to Google Doc, I'd like you to begin working on your proposal or your assignment, your thank you note assignment. And again, this will be done independently and in the form of a Google Doc. So jumping out for a minute from here, I have put the students who are proficient or advanced, either because it was indicated to me in the document that you sent, or in real time I have assessed in this lesson that some students have jumped to being proficient or advanced, and maybe some students are just approaching proficiency or slightly below. So the group that's proficient or advanced will go ahead and, moving up Bloom's taxonomy a little bit, begin to create their proposal using the inferences and explicit information. The other group of proficient or approaching proficiency will sum up what they heard in the video or the text, and they will go ahead and draw an inference, and that will be in the form of a thank you note. So switching over to the second part of this video for myself, I believe that I used the pre-assessment to gather appropriate data to guide me and to start off my lesson. I believe that my pre-assessment and my the close read and the rest of the lesson do stick very closely with RL 6.1, inferring and using the textual evidence, the statements from the textual evidence that are stated explicitly, and working on the difference between the two of those. I believe that I was able to draw my assessments and data from the students during Pear Deck as another real-time way of using data collection, all the while just moving through the lesson. I'm particularly happy with the video because I do believe that some students are auditory learners, some are more visual, and I think that it's nice to have a few different platforms where students can learn the same material and be able to participate whether or not they are a strong reader. Though we worked on their reading, it's nice to have another platform where they can work on the same lesson. And this is particularly useful for students who might be English language learners. I definitely like to include a video component, an audio component. These can also be translated. We can find a video with the same material that might have subtitles or is even in their language. And I think that's very important because I don't like to have any barriers to entry to any of the students in my class. I like everyone to be able to participate in each lesson, or at least know there is a good amount of material for students who may be struggling with reading or even with the language itself. So, and then the last part of the lesson, I think, is another great assessment. I like to reflect on the lesson even when it's over and use all of the data that I collected to help me with lessons coming up, maybe for the next day. So I would be able to use their proposals, and I would be able to use their thank you letters for myself, just to know where to go from there. And also it is another form of data collection which could inform my instruction in the future. And again, the ability grouping is only known to me. They're completely unaware, for the most part, that I'm using quick data, gathering data quickly throughout the lesson, and it is informing my instruction in real time, and it is also going to inform my future instruction when I get a chance to read all their thank you letters and to take a look at their proposals. So I think this gave me a chance to address the students with the IEPs, to focus on them with the close reads, and I think that the standards are appropriately assessed as well throughout the lesson, and also in the end I can get a good look at the last assessment as well. So I want to thank you for considering me for this position, and it was fun to work on this lesson today.